Alright guys, how you going? Welcome back to the channel. More work on the Pajero. Today Lionel and I, again, express parts from Dubai, are going to be doing the rear CV, changing of the boots. So we're going to be removing the CV entirely, pulling the CV apart, repacking it. Hopefully we'll inspect the CV, make sure it's all good, put the new parts on. We'll take you through the entire process. And then after that, we're going to do the front CV. So we might just do this video on the rear, and then the next video will be on the front, and then there'll be more bits and pieces, which I'm sure we'll let you know during the video. And through the whole process, we'll list all the part numbers, all the tips and tricks and bits and pieces. So yeah, makes it nice and easy as possible for you guys. All right, let's get started. All right guys, so we'll quickly explain what's going to happen. Okay, there's a few steps in the process. What we're going to do is we're going to remove this cap here, remove the axle nut and the cotter pin. Then we're going to remove the calipers. We're going to remove the ABS sensor at the back. We're going to remove this bump stop. There's a bolt underneath. We're going to remove these two nuts here, so we don't have to crack open the ball joint. And then the main bolt on the lower control arm, we'll remove that next. Okay, so that's the first step in the process to get access to the CV. All right, let's go. All right, so the two bolts on the brake caliper are 17 mil, and we've just popped them on the breaker bar. Crack the nuts. First one was easy, second one not so. Alright guys, and for safety, again, I always throw the tyre underneath the car. We've got jack stands underneath as well as the jack as well, just in case it collapses. You're going to be pulling on this CV quite a bit just to get it out of the rear diff. So again, safety, 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 please. Alright, so these are the two bolts that we've removed. Alright guys, so as you can see here, what we've done is we've pulled the brake caliper apart. The main reason being for this is just, I don't want to put any excessive weight on the brake lines and cause any damage. And then what we'll do now is we'll actually take this part of the caliper off and just pop it on the floor. Okay, good opportunity to give this a good clean out as well. Good timing also to pull your brake pads out and have a look. And then because of the CV in particular, we can see that these brake pads in particular and the one on the back has been saturated with grease from the CV joint. So this one should be 17. Now there's another two bolts here left on the very back of the brake caliper. We're going to crack these and take these ones off next. Alright guys, so we've just got the brake caliper out, so you can see there, and again it's full of mud and grease and so forth, so we'll get this cleaned up. And we'll take you through the process. Alright guys, so in this next section, you'll see that things don't always go to plan, okay? So this will be a good learning experience for everyone, of things that you can come across and then solutions basically to get yourself out of them. So yeah, watch through the entire section, and again, it all gets resolved in the end, but these are some things that you could come across. Alright, let's keep going. Because we want to remove the whole ball joint without pulling the ball joint apart. Once you crack it, it's pretty simple. One new beast of a torch. When we went full drive to get code 1. Yeah. Thought, oh, this is fucking grouse. What is it? I went and checked it out. Found one online. Mate, it lit up the whole forest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
There's some really good ones out there now.
Alright guys, so with these ones, there's a nut and bolt, 17 mil again top and bottom, pop the breaker arm on the one underneath to crack the bolt, and then you may need a combination of both to get it out, ratchet and ring. Be careful doing this or else you'll chew up your hands. Crack, beautiful. Love that sound. Alright guys, now that we've cleared a bit of room, got a bit of space, so what we're going to do is take off the stub axle cap first. Now, I have another story about this one too. Again, please be careful doing this, not like my friends at Mitsubishi. Unfortunately, again, Mitsubishi, one of the guys there was a little bit too aggressive, pierced it and poked a hole in it, and as a result ended up cooking my bearings because there was a hole in it, water got in and all the bearings rusted out. So yeah.
Can you release the handbrake?
Yep. Alright guys, so in order to just get a bit more leverage on the screwdriver, we've just slid off the disc, and then to do that you got to make sure that you take off the handbrake, but make sure you chock up the wheels before you do so. Alright, so you can see how delicately Lionel took the cap off. There are no holes or perforations in it. Thank you, Lionel. So I've actually had to replace these bearings and hubs a couple of times. I think just unfortunate, it's a bit of a rare occurrence. Obviously if you pierce the cap and let water in, it will happen. But if you go back to the channel, I've got a couple of videos detailed on how to remove these and get them back in. Also, watch out for future videos on replacing these handbrake pads, which they're pretty badly worn. Alright guys, so this is the next challenge. Now the socket you need for this is 36mm. It's not in most standard toolboxes, so I had to end up going to buy one. And then with this one, the short breaker bar on its own, mate, it's hard. You need the bigger one. And if you have a ratchet gun, it makes it so much more easier. Spin in the rear tyre. Need a bit of weight.
Pull your handbrake back on again for us.
So this probably should have been cracked with the tyre on, yeah?
Yeah.
And on the ground. Alright, so what we've done is we've basically, we probably should have cracked this nut with the tyre on. So we've dropped the car down a little bit, we've got the handbrake on, and we're going to have another go. And we're going to apply a little pressure on the brake pedal.
Oh, stop. That's close.
Alright guys, but I didn't capture on video, but I'll just tell you what we did. I had a caliper spreader, so what I did was I popped that in the place of the calipers to stop the piston from being pushed out when I applied the brake in the car, because we needed a little bit more tension to help. Alright, so ultimately we still couldn't get it off, so we ended up putting the 3 bolts back into the top of the wheel assembly to get the upper arm connected back up again. And we put the wheel back on to try again with the pry bar, and then ended up following it up with a ratchet gun.
Hey! Far away. Oh, no, we broke the spanner.
Oh, there you go.
So something was given. Yeah, it sheared the pin off. Felt good. No, no.
Oh, yep. Hey!
Holy crap.
Bloody hell, what an effort. Well done, mate.
There you go.
Alright guys, so we've got the nut off after a lot of persuasion. The next step is to now remove the lower control arm. So you'll just need a jack and a ratchet to remove this one.
I got a cool little tool from Temu
Yeah.
for this. And it gets rid of all of this.
Yeah.
And it gives you a spanner with a ratchet head that slips straight on there, and you just do that.
Oh. And all of these bolts are all unique, so you can't mix it up.
Alright.
Alright, so we'll just drop those two bolts back off the top. So we'll just take the nut off the lower control arm assembly, because we want the assembly to be able to move free a little, so we can actually get this CV out. So we've just loosened the nut off, we'll pop it in a little bit, and then we'll give it a bit of a tap. Alright, so now we'll just jack it up a fraction just to take a bit of pressure off the bolt, and then we'll tap it through.
Alright, now we'll just drop it down, and it should come out nice and easy. Now what we do is we unscrew it. Oh, 19, maybe 19 on that side.
So it won't just tap out from the screw.
No.
There's too much pressure on it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. See, this is still in here. If we pull this out, that should alleviate the pressure.
Yeah, it might. Yep, we can try and pop that out.
Be careful, because this might. There you go, guys. Once you pull the bottom pin out, once the top bolts are off nice and loose.
So it's pretty much it's out.
Yeah, this was the bit, it took a little bit of persuasion.
Just a gentle tap.
A rubber knot somewhere.
It's alright, just gentle one. Kick up. Oh, I just went straight back in.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah.
Now this is the big question, is that enough?
It's definitely out.
Yeah, the question is there enough room?
I think if you
And then you want me to pull?
you pull the hub to you.
And then let that drop down?
Like that. There you go.
Excellent.
And then it's only a matter of now us getting that top one out. See how much plays in the top?
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, so they just lift it up to its highest point to start with, and then put it under anywhere under there.
Yep.
I think what's happening is all the load of the CV is pulling down and not square.
Yeah. There you go, bit of a way. Pin, where's the pin? Where's the
It doesn't look like you've got one.
You're fucking kidding. No circuit.
We might have to stick our hand up in there.
Yeah.
Or with your light and just
Yeah.
see if there's anything up in there. It's in there.
Oh, okay.
A magnet?
Yes.
Yep. Because it's just sitting there like you don't want it to drop back in.
Guys, that was actually sort of difficult, but kind of easy.
Easy.
Like for doing it for the first time, next time, like a piece of piss.
Yeah, yeah. So if you shine it in.
Check this out. Beautiful.
There you go.
There's your circlip. So be mindful it might end up
In your diff.
in your diff. So if it comes out and it's missing, go looking for it. You would not want that
Oh shit.
in your diff. That's not broken, is it? That's just...
Yeah, no, it's just popped off. It's instead of it compressing, it's
Cool. All right. So that wasn't too bad.
I'll leave it off for now. So we might have to.
All right, guys. So that's how you remove a CV. We got there eventually. All right, we'll take you through the next process. All right, as you can see here, this is the whole reason we're replacing the boots. So this is really fresh. So yeah, so what we're going to do is basically remove this boot. You've got 2 clamps here. We're going to get these 2 off first. All right, let's go. I wonder if the new clamps are the same type. Because if they are, that could be interesting.
Yeah, because you need a special tool.
Yeah.
So hopefully, let's hope they're not. One.
There you go.
And it's not bad. If we have to, we can probably put it back together.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll just roll this around. We'll do the same.
Done.
Alright. So. And it has got a little bit of water in it.
All right, so this guy, with this one, guys, it's pretty fresh. As you can see, it's full of grease. It's only a recent one. So there's a good chance that the bearings inside should be in good nick. But there is a little bit of water ingress.
Right, let's get some grease out.
All right, guys, so we're just going to cut the boot off. Now we're working on the end, wheel side. So the outer. This side's the outer, and you can see by the grooves on this, whereas the other side's the inner, which connects to the diff. I don't think there's any way to do this easily or cleanly.
There's not.
So lots of rags, lots of paper towels. Try and get as much off as possible. So what we're going to be doing is getting this end cleaned up, but ultimately we're actually going to be taking off the other end to be able to slide the boots on without using that that special duvlacking tool, the boot stretcher. So we've got the kits for this from Parts OQ from Dubai. That seems to be the go-to for reasonably priced and genuine Mitsubishi parts. So there's 2 separate kits that you need to purchase, which I'll pop the part numbers in, as you can see below. Again, it all comes with all the clamps, it all comes with all the grease for each particular end, new circlips, it's got the whole lot. The only thing you need to be mindful of is the clamps that it does come with do require a special tool, but we're going to try and come up with a workaround. Alright, we'll come back when she's done. It's fucking planes. Alright. So Lionel, we noticed there was a few droplets of water in there. Why is it so important to get all this water out?
Because water doesn't compress, and it damages the hardened surfaces of the 2 bearing surfaces, and then once the case hardening comes off, it will start to disintegrate.
Okay.
It'll just destroy itself.
Yeah.
Alright, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get much more out of there.
Alright guys, so this boot is actually in good nick, and that's the damaged boot. Ideally we would just replace that damaged boot, but we haven't found a process or a way of actually getting those bearings out. We know how to get these bearings out, so hence I've purchased boots for both sides. If anyone out there knows how to do it, let us know. For these purposes, we're going to take this whole section out, and then we're going to replace both boots. It's probably ideal to get both boots replaced at the same time, even though the other one does look in pretty good nick.
See some of these lines in it?
Yeah.
But this is just where it rubs on the actual CV itself.
Yeah.
But the balls, they look all right.
Yeah.
There's no scoring or marking in any of them.
Yeah.
And they're the bits you got to worry about.
Yeah. Cool.
And these sections look good as well.
Yeah.
So no, it looks like it's in pretty good nick. It's still quite tight and firm. It's not really loose.
Excellent.
So,
All right, perfect. Now we'll move to this end. All right, guys, the same process as before with these. And again, depending on the CV's clamps, there's different sets out there, but these are obviously the genuine ones. And we know this with the kits, they came with actually the same clips. So, I'll come back when she's all done. So we've mastered the process now. Just pull up that little end bit. Yep. Once you've got that up enough, then grab your multis. There you go. Too easy. Only took a couple of ticks.
there we go. Pop back off again.
Alright. So that's what she looks like. That's a bit fatter there, that's why. Alright, same process, get as much out as possible.
I might cut it off.
Yep.
Geez, I should have an easy way to cut it.
Be super careful with this process. Seen some nasty Stanley knife cuts over the years. All right, similar process. We'll get as much grease cleaned up as possible, and then we'll come back and show you the steps in relation to getting this end off. There's a circlip we need to remove for this to be able to pop out. All right, so you can see there's a circlip there. It's pretty easy to get to, actually. So you actually get a new one in the kit, but yeah, be careful with it just in case.
Right, can you just straighten it up a little bit towards me? That's it.
There you go. Too easy.
Done.
All right.
So that should.
I'll pull. If you can.
That's it.
There we go. That's what she looks like inside. Let's see if there's any. Oh, it looks pretty good. And then there's another circlip as part of this mechanism, which keeps it on the shaft. Once we take that, we'll get as much gunk out as possible. And then once we take that circlip out, then that end will come off until we take that. All right, guys, so we've cleaned up most of the grease. Grab your circlip pliers.
Taking sort of everything.
Good old Kings never lets us down. All right. So, and again, in the kit, you get a new one of those. Now let's see if this comes off nice and easy, or it needs a bit of persuasion.
I think it's going to need the tap.
Yeah, so you just need to be a bit careful with this.
It's probably just because they've never been off before. Oh, there you go.
Cool, beautiful.
Again, this is nice and clean.
Yeah. All right, guys, so we've cleaned this one up as best as possible with all the bearings still in. So again, mate, keep turning, keep moving, keep moving. Just try and get as much out as possible. Again, there was no water ingress here, so all the bearings look in really good nick. So as you can see now, we've got access now to be able to slide both new boots on, re-grease both ends, and then clamp her up. All right, guys, so we're just going to be the brake cleaner to do the final cleanup. Again, buy several cans of this stuff. Clean stuff up very easily. So, all right, guys, so now we're going to clean this end out. The joys. This is why you pay someone to do it. But again, like it's kind of relatively easy, and at the end of it, you don't really see much for it, other than, again, obviously you're going to save quite a few dollars doing it yourself. You know, it's obviously avoiding a breakdown somewhere down the track, because you would not want to be broken down with snap CVs in the middle of nowhere. All right, guys, so the cleanup's all complete. Okay. So again, we couldn't work out a way to get this off. I'm sure there is a way though. So again, if you know, let us know. Everything's all nicely cleaned up. The bearings are all cleaned up and everything's in good condition. So there's no reason not to move forward with just basically re-greasing everything up, putting the new boots and then moving forward. Otherwise, if you had bearings, you know, damaged, or the inner rings damaged or wear, then you'd have to probably look at getting a reco. Now, with all the parts, so I've got everything again, express parts from Dubai, parts OQ. So these are the two kits. So this is the first kit, and then this is the secondary kit. Obviously there's some slight differences in relation to what comes with them. Obviously both of them come with the boots, okay? Boots are pretty much the same. They both come with clamps. With this end here, if you can get this housing off, then you can get this set of inner bearings out. Now there's a circlip for that. If you can get that out, we've got no idea how to do it. If you find out, let me know. Obviously you've then got the grease. Now for this end, there's a few more little bits and pieces. So again, different type of grease, so there must be a reason different types of grease potentially, or whether it's just simply just packaging. You've got your clamps, you've got your circlip here for the inner housing of this. You've got this circlip here for when it goes back into the diff. So you've got the original one, you might as well put the new one on. And then you've also got this circlip here for once you put this set of bearings back in. All right, so that's about it. So let's start packing and getting dirty again. So this here is the outer dust seal for the inner seal.
Diff seal. Yep.
Diff seal. So the diff seal is still in the diff. Like I said, we're not replacing it. But I would advise probably, if you go and do this, I would advise probably to rebuy these as well. The diff seal and the seal cap. I'm sure it comes with complete.
This is the upgraded grease. It's graphite.
So make sure you unload all of the grease entirely. Don't leave anything.
Oh, got it. That went straight on. That's it.
And then,
yep. So that's the lip that it sits on.
all right, guys. So we've got both clamps on this side. We've now popped the boot and the clamp on this side, and now we're about to now just tap in the bearing. Okay, nice and gentle. Again, it's a nice firm fit. We're just sliding it over the axle. That's touching. Can you see the circlip yet?
I think it's there now.
Yeah. Does it fraction more? Or?
A little bit more. That's it. That went
Cool.
home. Right. So this one.
We'll pop the circlip in now. Beautiful.
Just to make sure it's in. Yeah, that's it.
Yep, spinning freely.
Perfect.
Alright guys, so this container is obviously a little bit more easier. Now the boot kit for this side was a genuine Mitsubishi part and everything was perfect. The clamps were perfect, the boot was perfect. I mean, even the squeeze bottle for the grease was perfect. It was very straightforward and simple. The other side though was a non-genuine boot. So I've put the parts for that non-genuine one. Look, it did the job, but the clamps weren't quite right. The boot was a little bit large. The grease was okay. But if you can find the genuine one for the other side, highly recommend, because this one wasn't quite right. Once this thing's spinning at 100 kilometers per hour, I think it'll be going everywhere.
No dry spots.
Massage it all in.
Alright. You have to flip it now.
Yep. Alright, you hold the bottom and I'll...
Yep. Alright. Now I've got to hold it up.
I've got the top. You have two hands, but...
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, that's it. It's in.
Alright guys, so we've got the bearings back in, we've got the circlip in here, now we've got the boot in place, and now we're going to do the clamps. Okay. Now for the genuine Mitsubishi kit, you will need this clamping tool. I'll include a link in the description below. Must have.
Oh, Jesus. That's it. Done.
So after 4 of them, the last one was the easiest because we're experts at it now. Pain in the ass, the worst part of the whole job. These bloody clamps.
Just to make sure we've got it in the right. That's your new one.
Yep, so it clips on.
Yep.
Now, I'm trying to think as if there was a easier way, whether that gap was at the bottom or the top. I believe if you put the gap at the top, it makes it easier to insert.
So all we need to do is just put a little bit of grease on this and around here so that it slips into the seal.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Alright guys, so I'll just put a little bit of grease on the CV. This is at the diff end, just to help it slide in a little bit. Willow! The little terror. Alright guys, we've got the CV back in. So the learnings through this exercise is, it's one of the most painful parts of the process. So we got it pushed back in, got the circlip pop into place into the diff. The best place for it was we were able to get the axle up into this position up here. From that, it was then direct access in. And then we had to actually use a bit of brute force, which is not the ideal. We tried to use a bit of wood just to protect it a little bit first, but no, it needed sort of metal on metal. And then once we got that happening, it popped in pretty quickly. So, all right. So now we'll pop everything back together. See that the CV is nicely positioned. All right, guys. So make sure before you put the lower control arm back in, pop in the bump stop and the 2 nuts on the ball joint, and then we'll pop in the lower control arm just down here. Okay. All right, guys, we're all done. It was an experience and a half. Lots of learnings from the process. So she's all back in. Probably the 2 probably most difficult processes were the actual putting back in of the CV into the diff because of the circlip. That was a little bit difficult. And just getting the CV into the right position to be able to sort of make it all happen. And then the next probably most difficult thing was clamping on the boots. So the clamps were a little bit difficult. We had the clamping tool in the end. We went and got one, which made it a bit easier. But there was 2 different types of clamps that were supplied. One was a little bit easier than the other. It looked like one of the clamps were factory and the other clamp wasn't factory. And that was the one that was a bit more difficult. But we got it all on eventually. And one of the boots, again, the one that wasn't factory, was just maybe a fraction bigger than was required, which again made things a little bit more difficult. But overall, extremely happy that we went through the process. Again, it all comes down to time. We ended up wasting a day sorting it all out, but definitely more the wiser for the experience. And when we do the front one, again, slightly different process because of the setup at the front end. But that one should be, I suppose, a bit easier. Definitely, I suppose, the only problem with the front one is we're going to pull the CV out. I think that's been dry for a long time, so there's a good chance that the actual bearings in that CV will be shot. So that one we might actually do a reco changeover instead of doing the boot kit. But yeah, Again, thanks to Lionel for his assistance for the day. Again, if you like what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up. Any feedback, drop it in the comments. Any questions, more than happy to help out as much as possible. Again, I'm no mechanic in any way, shape or form, but just happy to have a go. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.